a tech issue. So that really sucks. So I think I'm back. I want to read some of those. Let's see if we can get that. Yeah, there we go. And we'll do a quick transition. Yeah, if you wanted to follow, you want to, you want to get me on Discord. I'm working on getting the. Yeah, I know that's going to foster an awful lot of confidence here that I just lost my audio. Drop kick the mic. I certainly would like to do that. But the Discord server is the same as you see down below. It's Marc Stevens NSP. Let's see. Does the sound ever come on? Yeah, it should be back now. Yeah, audio issues. Who would have guessed that? I think we're back. All right. Fireman's saying, except his work did work. I've had the motion in limine granted. There's, it's the nature of the internet. You've got jackasses, douchebags, and morons all over the internet, and they have their own channels, and they're going to put up lies. Now, I very well could, I could copyright strike, but that's not me. I could probably take down one of their channels. That's not me. I don't do that. I hadn't opened up my YouTube in a while because, I wasn't doing the stream, and I noticed there was like 400 copyright strikes, not against me, but for someone using my channel. And I think we all know who I'm talking about. So I very easily could have his entire channel taken down, but I don't do that. People are free to use the material. And if that means they're going to smear me, that's what comes from, not believing in copyright law. And so that's not something that I would do. But, what we do here, what I've always done is put the evidence up on the internet and people make up their own mind. If people are just going to listen to one source, well, all right. It's a big internet. It's a big world. So, not everybody has to like the material. Not everyone has to think I'm a good guy. There are a handful of people that think I'm a con man. But I would put this to those who are new. At least look at more sources. Look at the actual material and take notice that they've never publicly been able to provide a single name of somebody whose life I allegedly destroyed. If I was the type of person that they made me out to be, I would gladly show that fat grinning jackass who is the lawyer who made these false accusations against me. And you guys know that I've taken lawyers and I found their pictures. And yeah, I the one with I photoshopped out her child. It still got the video taken down. But I've done it. But here I just decided it was best not to, because I was nearing the end of my run. I was already out of business, and I certainly didn't want anyone or something be done that could be put on me to say that, oh, he got his rabid followers like that lunatic up in Michigan, and he got him to attack this poor attorney. So I let it go. Yeah, you need to take, Steve Christensen, you need to take the good with the bad. That's freedom. I've done this a very long time now. I've been on YouTube for, good Lord, 13 years. And there was only one time, because I took some bad advice, that for about 6 months, I didn't allow comments on videos. And then I realized how bad an idea that was, and I let it go. I put in there, you could go, if you disagree with the video or anything on the show, just post on the forum. I had a forum with like a few thousand people, and you could just bring your argument there. And some did, but a lot don't. There's a lot of trolls. In fact, there's one. And again, I get the humor here. I think this is hilarious. There's somebody, and I haven't seen it in a while because I haven't really looked, but there was somebody who would always, every time I uploaded a video, would make the same comment, slightly different. And he would say, hey, 400 views, you're killing it. So I do appreciate humor like that. That's always fun to see. So, were there any questions, anything you guys wanted me to address before I have to wrap this up? Just throw that there in the chat. Just don't take too long. Let me go back here and see. Holy crap, do we have no audio for that long? Well. Mark, if you thought about running, I might have to pull this entire stream down. I'll have to check to see if the audio's there. And when you know it, I'm not recording locally. So I might lose this entire broadcast. If that's the case, I'll just have to cover some of the same ground on Monday because nobody got to hear it. Hey, Mark, if you thought about running your ideas across ChatGPT or the AI lawyers, no, and I'm not interested in that. They look like they're gonna get into some trouble. And you know, when it first came out, I didn't initially understand once bitten, twice shy. Now I really know what that means now. But when it came out when I was 14, I think they were just talking about chicks. But no, and I'm not interested in getting in that arena anymore. Honestly, I know there's a lot they're going to say I'm full of crap. I don't care. If you go back into the history of the show, and it just turned into just what I was doing during the week anyway, except for not taking nearly as many calls from bureaucrats on the live broadcast. I did a few here and there, but it's exhausting. And it's, Ronnie Martin, Montana is just realizing we're doing, yes, this is the third live show of the year. I'm doing Monday and Wednesday, 7 o'clock Arizona time. So glad to have you back there, Ronnie. So anyway, when you're dealing with these situations, it's exhausting. It is so emotionally draining. And so you have situations that are associated with you, which had nothing to do with me and had nothing to do with my work. What Tom in Michigan did was so absolutely monstrous that this was someone, and then of course this raging scumbag had to do a video trying to make it look like that what happened had something to do with me. And I can't even begin to tell you how draining and how frustrating that is. Tom was a racist asshole who was banned from the show multiple times. I never should have let him back on the show. And to have somebody, this monstrous prick, to try to associate my work, which had to do with live honestly, injure no one, give every man his due, and be logical and reasonable, to hurt nobody, to have this this bastard try to correlate or connect me with this murdering scumbag racist piece of garbage. That's not something I ever signed up for. That's not typical. That is not typical criticism of the work. That is somebody who is hell-bent on assassinating your character. I wish I had fought the state's practicing law allegations. I did. Oh, I wish you had. I did. I can't believe that there are people who watch the stream. Go back to the first few months of 2020. It was one of the main subjects that I talked about there, Cop Block. I even showed the documents. I discussed my whole defense in explicit detail. I fought But you have to keep in mind, I was already emotionally drained. The stuff that happened with Tom, the same U.S. attorney that caused the guy, I can't remember his name right now. The guy from one of the founders of Reddit to kill himself because of the charges that they drove a woman I was working with to kill herself because her husband was being released, and the U.S. attorney literally ran upstairs to get a different judge to overturn that, and that her husband, who was very sick, was probably going to die in jail, and she'd never see him again. So that is incredibly emotionally draining, and dealing with a lot of stuff like that, and just dealing with the IRS in general. It's not healthy to deal with IRS agents all week. I can tell you it's not healthy. You do not want to go and stay in that world very long. It's really, really unhealthy. And since about September, October of 2019, my life completely got overturned with family issues. So if you go back to the 2019 summer shows, you realize I was close to being hospitalized for various reasons, medical reasons. Well, I'll tell you, I called it the No Sleep Project. I didn't sleep more than an hour in 2 weeks. So there were family things, and there was a death in the family. It was unbelievably emotional. I wasn't doing the stream anymore on LRN. And because of that, I wasn't making any money. And it just wasn't there anymore. I needed LRN. I needed that promotion. And that just hurt. And so by early 2020, I wasn't making any money. I didn't have the support. I had some support, but it just wasn't enough. And almost the whole show was mute. That really sucks. So maybe I'll save this part. I'll edit this so that I'll keep this stuff. So all that, I was already pretty much out of business. Then they shut the courts down, and that was the nail in the coffin. When they shut the courts down, I got the complaint from the bar. So I was already out of business. And I did defend it. So I'll repeat myself here again, but a cop block, if you want all the gory details, go back to the first few months of 2020, and I go through all this in minute detail. I actually read right from the complaint, and I talk about my actual defense. I mentioned, and it was muted, you scored a big win with the interview with the law professor. Yes, that was a good one. That was one of the highest viewed videos too. That was good. So my defense was that this lying snake, this inactive, smirking, fat attorney was lying that I advertised and targeted vulnerable people. That's 100% false. I had no budget to advertise. I have never advertised. You think you could show a screenshot that there would be a link to a video, something. There was nothing in the complaint regarding evidence that I advertised because I didn't. I never did. So he also said that I had ruined the lives of thousands of people. Not a single name. The Bar Association, I'm repeating myself, but I was muted. The Bar Association, and I read it on the air, admitted it was not true, that it was false, but because they considered it his opinion, false opinions could be used against me. They wouldn't strike it knowing and admitting that they were false. What the hell would you do in the situation where the lawyers involved are going to accept as true statements they agree were false? What possible chance? What idiot would continue fighting at that point? I was out of business. I didn't have a leg to stand on because I was not going to be dealt with fairly. So I did the easy thing. I did the rational thing. And I pulled the store off my website. That's all I did. All I did was pull the store off my website. That was the only thing I had to do. And I got confirmation, and I still pursued. I wanted this SOB sanctioned. They wouldn't do it. They said they had no jurisdiction because he is a member of the Texas bar, that I would have to file something with the Texas bar. But the guy lives in Kansas. So I dropped it and I moved on. The 3 of the most difficult years of my life. I couldn't believe it got worse than 2000. Who would have thought in 2019 I lose family, come close to being hospitalized because of it, and 2020 would just get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. Yeah, not to mention some tech issues. They've always been there. So, yeah, Ronnie Montana, you didn't even know the live broadcast was back. And the first thing out of the gate, I have a tech issue. I needed Calvin to be here today. Then we would have reported. Hopefully, Calvin will be there for the next the next one. Oh, man, I can't believe that I had to repeat again how I defended myself against the Arizona bar. Someone stole your books from me. I will be needing to get more copies. Well, Michael, I can help you with that. You can order hard copies on Amazon. That is true me. Or you can go into the description and you can use the PayPal link, and I can get you for a $10 donation or $10 I can send you the ebooks that way. So, and this way, they can't be stolen. So, and if you, yeah. So, yeah, I am going to wrap it up here because I don't like bringing that stuff up. It's going back to 2019. Is really bad. It's no different than, so if you were to go back to early 2013. See, I shaved. I buzzed my hair today, but there I shaved my head, and so that was a bad time too. So that's why. Anyway, hopefully that's going to set this. It'll settle the issue here, and I don't have to discuss what happened with the bar. If you come across a video that is saying something contrary to what I'm saying, take this to heart. Consider this. Which source has personal first-hand knowledge? Now, people, well, yeah, Mark, you were personally involved, but you've got you've got an interest in not looking bad. Really? I just did half a broadcast with no audio. I'm immune to stuff like that now. You know, if I make a mistake, I'm man enough, I'm adult enough that I can correct the mistake. So hopefully that's going to be it. Say, Mark, didn't know you were in that bad a spot a few years ago. Sorry, bud. I appreciate that. Yeah, well, you don't normally talk about how bad things are. You don't want to necessarily share that, but I think for the people who may have been slightly swayed by these scumbag critics, well, Mark, if if they're wrong, why do you have to insult them? Because they're branding me a domestic terrorist. I would much rather be called a scumbag and a moron than to be called a domestic terrorist on these people's videos. But I laid it out. And I showed the documents. I was using that crap. I was using an HD webcam at the time, so you might be able to read the documents in those videos. But that's really what it was, And thanks, Steve. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's been. I'll take a couple minutes here. There's so much that happened behind the scenes that people don't know about. And that it wasn't my place to talk about. Let me mention this. I worked with an attorney. And I've mentioned that before. And he was involved with Libertopia. And he was a licensed attorney in Connecticut. And I worked with him on a case. It was taxes. And this attorney was the attorney of record. And he just disappeared. We obviously knew he was being investigated because, well, that's why we were working. I was working as a paralegal under an attorney. And he disappeared. Can you imagine someone you've had regular contact with who's gone? I mean, gone. And I called the U.S. Attorney's office, and the attorney did, and they wouldn't tell us where the guy was. This is not a traffic ticket, guys. These are the things that we dealt with on, every week practically. That was Aaron Swartz. Aaron Swartz was the guy who killed himself because the U.S. attorney in Connecticut drove him to that. And the same one caused the death of this woman I work with. So it wasn't until maybe 8, 9, 10 months later, through a third party, I was able to find out what happened to this guy. Now, I'm not going to use his name. It's not important. That has to do that for 15, 20 or 20 years that I did. I had enough. I had enough. And if some douchebag on the internet wants to say that I'm wrong, all right, whatever. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. So are hard copies still available? Yes, you have to use the link in the description for the hard copies, but ebooks always available. In the past, I was the one who always said "Aloha, Mark." Oh, that's appreciated, Steve. Glad to have you back, but I'm gonna have to pull the plug on this because of the tech issue. I'm not using the webcam anymore, so I don't have an unlimited battery. I'm using because I don't have very expensive lights, as I mentioned. I have to go with a much better camera. Yeah, I'm a fungo. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, it's V-A, fungo. So I know I'm a hypocrite. I only swear in Italian or Sicilian. So I don't care about all the pile of merda that the critics want to lay at my feet. And that's what their channels are, merda. So, all right. Oh, how are the kids? The kids are good. The kids are good. The kids are good. But I got to wrap it up. But if you guys want to know, if for whatever reason you're interested, go back to the summer 2019 shows. And be like, wow, holy crap. Wow. I lost my broadcast on LRN. Anyway, glad to have you guys back. Glad doing a live stream again. If you want to help support the show, the broadcast, the live stream, the links are in the description. I was running out of time. No, I was never driven to eat the animals again. I had to get a workout in, and I completely forgot to put my Anarchy shirt on. But if you want one of those Anarchy shirts, you can get them in a link. And that also has the show name on it, Marc Stevens No State Project. Or you can go to my PayPal and you can get them directly from me, which I'm happy to do. No, still vegan. And since you brought it up, I will have to put together an all vegan show real soon. But love you guys. Appreciate you joining me. And we'll see you on the next stream on Monday at 7.